All right, Gabe Jenkins back with you, coming to you from the College and Career Accelerator, accelerating your future. Today we're doing something that's going to be super helpful for you both in your career if you choose to go into manufacturing engineering, or just kind of like representing your work and showing it to somebody else who is interested in it. Today we're going to learn how to make a technical drawing in SolidWorks. It's so easy. I know that in the first semester we had a lot of time getting used to drawing these things by hand, and it's really, really time consuming and tedious to do it by hand. And one of the beautiful things about CAD software, specifically SolidWorks, is it allows you to create a technical drawing like this, maybe like more detailed than this, in a way that represents the shape that you have created and allows anybody else looking at your technical drawing to understand exactly what this shape looks like. It's an incredibly important part of manufacturing because the machinist trying to figure out exactly what they're trying to create needs to have a very solid technical drawing so that they can understand what this shape looks like from every angle, how big each dimension is, what the tolerances are, etc. So we're going to start learning how to do that, and we're going to do it with this first assignment here is SolidWorks part number 12. So it's assignment number 12. You've already created it. It's pure gold. At least in SolidWorks, it's pure gold. And we've already created it, right? All the history of how we created it here, and I'm looking at it right here. So first step when you're ever going to make a new drawing is you're going to go to File, New, right? So if you go up here, you go to File, New, and we're not making a new part. We are making a new drawing. So SolidWorks can make parts like we've been doing. It can make assemblies, which is where you take multiple parts and you try to tell SolidWorks how you want those pieces to fit together and how you want them to relate to each other. And it allows you to make drawings of each individual part or assembly, right? And so we're going to make a new drawing, right? And so when we make our new drawing, it loads up what we've done before, and we're trying to essentially create something that looks like this. But I'm going to show you how to make this. I'm going to show you how to make it now, okay? So it's going to look like this. It's got an outline. It's got a border, just like the technical diagram does, just like a technical drawing from first semester. It's got our little title block here where we say what the part is, who made it, what the specific features of it are. And then it's got the multiple views that show anybody looking at it what it looks like from different sides, right? So in this one, we have our isometric up here in the top right. We have a top view up here, and we have a side view here. We also have a section view to show what the shape would look like if we cut it in, into a section. All right, so let's get started. So we're going to go up here to File, New, and we are going to make a drawing. I've already made this drawing, so it's asking me if I want to make the same thing. Do I want to open the one I've already done? I'm going to say no because I want to make a new one, okay? So first thing it asks us is what size paper do we want to draw on? Because obviously in the real world, there's multiple sizes of paper. There's A1, A2, A3, A4. It kind of gives you a preview of what it's going to look like. For now, I'm going to have you work on A3. And you can see it's got a basic shape of the paper, and it's got a little title block already kind of built in down there and ready to go. So I'm going to hit OK because it's 420 by 297, which should fit on a standard printer. And let's go. So I'm going to hit OK. And then it takes us here. And you can see right away, it knows we're trying to make a drawing of SolidWorks part number 12. It's got different possible views that I would want to incorporate into my technical drawing over here on the right. And it's asking me, do I want to import annotations? So you can just drag pictures in and create your own dimensions here separately, right? And that's perfectly normal. And you might want to do that if you haven't dimensioned something like an auxiliary view, or if there's something you haven't dimensioned in the actual model of the part itself. That's okay. But if you know you've already done really solid dimensions in the part as you were building it, all the lines were black, everything was dimensioned, it looks beautiful, all your dimensions are on the outside of the shape as much as possible. Every radius has an R, every diameter has a circle with a line through it, every overall dimensions are there, like everything is done beautifully. It's probably a really good idea to just import the annotations, right? And you're going to want to import the design annotations more specifically, right? So there's that. All right, so now we know that when we pull in a new shape, it's going to import all these things for us. We can always go back and change that if we want to, but I'm just going to show you. I'm going to assume that you want to do that. And we're going to start with the isometric. So if I click here on isometric and just drag it, I'm holding down the mouse button right now, drag it where I want it to go, and I'm going to let go right here. It's going to put the isometric right there. As soon as I drop it, it starts asking me, are there other things I want? Like, how do I want this to look? right? So it allows us to say, like, do you want it to be the isometric? Do you want it to be one of these other views? I'm going to say isometric. I want it to import all the annotations. Now, down here, it's got display style. For the isometric, I'm going to have you do shaded with edges. It allows you, do you want it to look like this? Do you want it like this is every possible edge on this shape is shown as a solid line. This is called wireframe. Do I want it to be like a visible thing with hidden lines shown as dotted lines, kind of like the way we did in our drawing class? I would do that. Just the outline of all the shapes here. I want it to look relatively like a realistic object, but I do want to see those edges here. So when you import your isometric, I want you to pick this one, which is shaded with edges. If you want to do high quality, do high quality. It's great. It lets you pick the scale. So if you're trying to do something and you know you're going to have like 10 different drawings on this page and you want to make your scale smaller, you can use a custom scale. You can pick this and say, I want it to be something else. I'm going to use the sheet scale. It should work fine for us, etc. Okay, so I'm going to use the sheet scale. The dimension type, we're going to use true dimensions, and everything else, we're just going to let it be as it is. Okay, so if that looks all the way I want it to, I don't need dimensions on my isometric, so I'm just going to say OK. Okay. Now, if you remember the original one I showed you, it had a top view, it had a front view. I don't know if it had a side view because the side view would probably just be the same thing as the front view. But it did. I think it had a section view on it as well to show you if you cut it in half along a cutting section line, a cutting plane line, you'd see what it looked like, what parts were solid and what parts were hollow along that cutting plane line. So we're going to do that here. So I've done my isometric, and now I want to import the next shape. If I go over here to View Palette, I click on that, it's going to ask me what is the next shape I want to drag in. I'm going to click on top and drag it over and put it there. I just clicked. You can see it automatically imported the dimensions I had on there, and I'm right now my hands are not on the mouse. I'm just kind of like moving it around, and you can see as I move it, it's trying to like give me the additional views as if. Because it's assuming I want to do that, right? And so I am going to want a front view, so I'm going to click here as well. You can see it automatically imported these dimensions as well. So we're off to a really good start. If I click again, it's going to show me what it looks like from different angles. So if I click up here, cool, etc. I don't think I really need to do this one. I could. If I click, great. It shows what it looks like from the side. As soon as you're kind of done with all of that, you can just hit the escape button, and it lets you get out of that. Now, if you're looking at your dimensions, you're like, I don't like the way this looks. I want to change this one thing about it, right? You can. You can go in here and you can click and you can drag it and move it down. It changes it in your actual sketch, back in the model, and so it'll adjust it automatically. I'm going to move that out here a little bit so that it's not covering up any part of my shape. That was there. I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, you know what? There are some dimensions here that it's missing, and so if you want to, you can go in here again, and you can add more dimensions in there. You can click on Smart Dimension and be like, oh, I want to say what this radius is, or I want to say what the distance from here to here is, right? And you can do that. If I want to say, I just moved this up a little bit, and I wanted to like give really clear dimensions about what that cutout part looks like, right? So I can go into Smart Dimensions, and I can zoom in, and I can be like, okay, from this point right here to that point right there. Well, let me highlight, there we go, right there. I want to highlight those two spots. And I'm going to say that's 3 inches from side to side. I could also say I want the radius of this circle to be 1.5, right? So you can add dimensions however you think makes the most sense for you to do it. Move that back down a little bit because it's a little crazy. All right, so that's that. It's going to be up to you to dimension it and turn this in like a PDF. And when you do your technical drawing, just like you've learned in my class and in other classes in technical drawing, the point again is to show every possible view that you need to truly show every shape of this object, every view that you need to show to fully communicate the shape of this object to a different person. Right? And so sometimes that means you just need a top and a front. Sometimes it means you need a top, a front, and a right side view. Sometimes it means you need an auxiliary view to show what like looking at a diagonal plane would look like if you looked at it perpendicularly. Sometimes, as in the case here, where there's like a hollow point in the center, you might want to make a section view. So let me just show you really quickly what that looks like so that you know how to do that as well. Just so you know, you can also kind of click on these guys and move them down a little bit. You can kind of move them out of the way. You can move them. It still keeps them lined up though, right? So it's not going to just let you drag this anywhere, because remember, we learned on all your technical drawings, these views should be aligned with like projection lines, right? So I'm going to show you what this looks like to make a section view of it. And I'm going to pretend that I'm going to cut it along this center line here and then show you what that looks like. So if I'm here in drawing, I'm not going to do an auxiliary view here. I'm going to do a section view, right? So I'm going to do a section view, and it asks me, what kind of cutting plane line do I want? Do I want it to be a vertical one? Do I want horizontal? Do I want it some kind of diagonal? Do I want it to be like a weird, like it goes multiple directions so I can show what it looks like from that direction? I'm going to say I want it to be this, and I'm going to want it to go right through the center point. So you can see, it's this pink line right here is my cutting plane line, and wherever I click, it's going to cut the object there and show me what the view would look like. So I click here, I'm going to say, yes, this is the view I want, and now if I just drag this down a little bit, it lets me pick this. It lets me show what the section view looks like. Now it's starting to get a little busy looking here, so I'm going to need to move some stuff to get everything showing. Try to move that down as much as possible so I can get my section view. Here. I don't think I need this dimension here anymore. I don't really know if I need that dimension here. So this shows you now what the section plane line looks like. As we know, the diagonal lines represent the places along that section, that cutting plane line in the object. The parts that are solid, the white parts are hollow. But we know that from our class. And so what we got here is basically we got a technical drawing. You're going to go down in here and you're going to fill out. It automatically populates the part, the assignment you're working on right here. So whatever you've named your file. For me, I name them SW Part 12 or whatever it is. But here's what you should put in here. You should put in here your name. You should put the material. In this case, you would write in pure gold. And the weight would be the mass, and you would say whatever the mass is, right? So as you probably know, on the title block, it gives you all the information that's kind of like annotative information, the scale, who's working on it, what version of the object it is, what version of the drawing it is, like what revision number it is, right? So it's got all that information so somebody trying to interpret it would know how to interpret anything on that drawing. But that's it, right? So the key points here, you're going to make a new drawing. You're going to use A3 paper. You're going to start to import your various shapes, or your various views of each shape. You're going to start with an isometric here, and you're going to do the multi-views over here. As I'm looking at it, does this really add much information? Not really. I mean, if you want to just kind of click it and get rid of it, you can. You can right-click and delete it. That's fine. It wasn't really adding much anyway, so I'm not gonna bother with that. And so you're adding, you're determining what's the scale you want it to be, what you want it to look like in terms of the display style, and then you're going to import all the annotations along with it and adjust your annotations so that it looks exactly the way you want. The dimensions are in line with conventions, and it looks beautiful, just like this. When you're done, you're going to save it as a SolidWorks drawing. Right? You're going to go up here to File, Save As, and you're going to instead of being a SolidWorks part, SLDPRT, it's going to be SLDDRW. You're going to find it in the menu of the drop-down right there. You're still going to call it whatever you called it, first name, last name, SolidWorks part, number, blah, blah, blah. But you're going to save it as a drawing. So when you attach this to your assignment, you're going to attach the part itself, SolidWorks part. No more PDFs. You're now going to attach a SolidWorks drawing, and you're going to private message me what the mass of your object is. Still three things. Part, SolidWorks drawing, mass is going to be private message to me. All right, everybody. Hope that's helpful. And do I want to replace it? Sure, I'll replace it. That's it. Hope this makes sense to you, and I hope you like how easy it is to make a technical drawing. You're going to realize that it's all that stuff you learned first semester is helpful because you know what it's supposed to look like, but now you don't have to do it by hand. You can just let SolidWorks do it. Let SolidWorks do the work for you. All right, everybody. Have a wonderful day. Talk to you soon. All right.